All right, Katie Watson, our correspondent for us there in Kyiv. Thank you very much for that reporting. And I want to bring in my next guest now, Andriy Zagorodnyuk, who's a former Ukrainian defense minister, now a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council Eurasia Center. Andriy, good to have you back with us. So we've been speaking to you really through the course of the last week or so as we've seen this diplomatic activity and the summit in Alaska as well. Tell me what you make of what you've seen today.
Well, today certainly went much better than many people feared. So there's been a serious, how you say, like worry about the possible pressure on Zelensky, and basically that Putin had mentioned some of the terms which he wanted to promise some sort of ceasefire or a cessation of hostilities, at least for some period of time, and obviously that was quite dangerous for Ukraine because there is no single indication that Putin wants to stop the war, at least at the moment. And any promises, with verbal promises, and especially promises you can't enforce, coming from Putin, and basically we had like many cases when he gave something and then changed his mind later. So that those wars seems like we still have to assess what happened, but from the early indications, that didn't happen. So there's been a very constructive discussion. They returned back to the ceasefire demand, which is obviously good because Putin, as you can see, uses his pressure, military pressure on Ukraine every day. So any demands of ceasefire will remove that card from him. But we'll see. That's much more difficult than many people thought, especially in DC. And at least the process so far is not going in the wrong direction. That's very good. And I believe that's also because there's been a very substantial representation there from Europe and also from NATO, EU. Like a massive allied meeting, and that's a very good format to proceed with decisions, I think.
Yeah, Andriy, we do get the sense of relief from many of the Ukrainian voices that this meeting so far has gone much better than back in February. At the same time, we heard President Trump repeat again that Russia has said for a long time that Ukraine should not be part of NATO. Are you worried that that is something that President Putin is insisting on and President Trump is perhaps standing behind, at least appears to be at this point?
Well, yes, because it's not about NATO and it's not about these terms. Putin, unfortunately, had much bigger goal than that. And we just need to understand that he brings up various kind of terms in order to derail the process and put the process in a different direction. In reality, it's not about NATO. It's not about Donbass. It's about him trying to destroy Ukraine and the Eastern European and probably European and security architecture, and Europeans know about that very well. All the heads of states which been today, including the Prime Minister of UK and the NATO General Secretary and so on, they know like what our real goals of Putin are. So we need to be careful when we discuss something which is not like really the issue, but. We'll see where it goes. It's very difficult to predict where this process will go, but to see such a massive, very powerful team working together on the resolution, well, I mean that's the best. That's absolutely the best we can wish for.
What do you think has to be in place before there is a trilateral summit? Does it have to be that security guarantees are completely nailed down, territorial questions as well?
I believe, first of all, the possibility of the trilateral summit is under big question because Putin will try to avoid, by all means, meeting Zelensky. That's not going to be easy, and he clearly understands what he's doing. And Zelensky will bring the facts which would be very difficult to deal with. So that meeting is not going to go well for Putin. And I mean, getting him to the table would be extremely difficult. First of all, secondly, Putin will only stop the war if. Not stopping the war will bring disastrous consequences to Russia. So there needs to be a substantial, negative motivation for him to continue the war, and so he will stop it to avoid a bigger catastrophe. So that could be in military, that could be on economic sanctions, and so on. He needs to see that perspective very evidently, very vividly in front of himself. So then he only becomes thinking about actually stopping the war. So that needs to be put in front very clearly. So he actually believes that it's going to happen. Without it, frankly speaking, I don't think anything is going to turn into a positive direction yet.
And Andriy, can I ask you about what you think President Zelensky's mindset is here? It must be quite difficult on the one hand, of course, thanking President Trump, but also needing to make very clear what Ukraine's red lines are for any discussions going forward.
I think that the fact that the meeting wasn't bilateral and the meeting didn't end up with U.S. Side pushing Ukrainian side to accept Putin terms, the meeting actually became very constructive and it became multilateral with European, with NATO, with some key nations supporting Ukraine. I mean, that's huge progress. I mean, that's a huge relief to Ukraine. That's a huge relief to all community which wishes, this war to end. Because actually, the fact that they managed to get everybody on the same table and start talk constructively about the end, I mean, I think that must be a huge relief to Zelensky. He avoided a massive trap which actually Putin was trying to create. And I believe that that's enormous progress, to be honest.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. But Andriy Zagorodnyuk, as always, great to have you on BBC News. Thank you for your analysis today.